All right, so today is Saturday, February 4th, and these ones are Breezy's puppies. So Willow's puppies have solid ribbons, Breezy's puppies have the dot ribbons. So that makes it pretty easy to be able to tell on the videos which pups we're talking about. They're of course kept separate from each other, each has their own area with their mama. And we are going to tell you a little bit about Breezy's puppies. So these pups are 3 days old, and Breezy had 10 puppies. 5 girls and 5 boys. Now Breezy is not a very big dog. She's kind of on the smaller, more petite side. And for her to have 10 puppies in her was just crazy. This is her first litter. So these pups were a little bit smaller at birth, as can be expected for one. Their mother is just overall a smaller dog than Willow is. But then too, when you have, more puppies, they're going to be a little bit smaller each one. Perfectly normal. And they're all healthy and strong and growing, doing well, just exactly what we want to see from them. So we will go ahead and show you Breezy's puppies. We will start with the girls, and again, I'll try and go biggest to smallest if I can keep track of the order that I'm going in. I'll look at my notes. So Yellow is the biggest of the girls. She today is 0.99 pounds, so she's pretty much 1 pound. I can reach her. And I'll show you on Yellow that Breezy's puppies have not had their tails and dew claws done yet. That will be happening on Monday. So they still have their full-length tail, and they still have their dew claw, which is basically like a little thumb right there on the front paws. But so here is Miss Yellow Dot, and I will show you her markings. Like we said before, Vizslas can either be solid or marked, and Miss Yellow has a little bit of markings. If we turn her over, she has very slight markings in her throat area, if I can get her to put her head up far enough. Very slight. I mean, just a few hairs. I really don't think that's going to stay at maturity. And then she also has, let me see, looking at her notes, her back left it's hard to tell. It's not really a white toe. It's a tiny bit of frosting, so it's more of like a highlight, a little bit on those back toes. So, she technically has some markings. It's hard to say whether either of those are going to stay at maturity. Sorry, you can hear Willow's pups. At maturity, and she may appear to be a solid dog. That's just something that's kind of a wait and see on that. Okay, our next one, going to the little bit smaller than her, is Miss Pink Dot. She is 0.88. She is right here. And if we roll her over, she again has very slight in the throat area. Hers might stay. It's a little bit bigger than Yellow's, still not huge. And her chest, let's take a look at that, has a small, she does not want to hold still, has a small marking. It's hard to see, but right there, just a small chest marking. And then if we continue down and look, you can see her belly button has a little scab right now. Just her umbilical cord, still drying up and healing, that's fine. She has very slight in the groin, probably won't stay, but we'd like to mention it. And then her back toes, her back right foot, has definitely some white markings on it. So those are Miss Pink Dot's markings. Okay, so next, smaller than her, is Teal, which is right here. Teal is 0.83 pounds, and she is the only solid dog out of Breezy's litter. So Breezy has a lot of markings showing up in her litter. That's something that it's kind of interesting with Vizslas. They are, sometimes they're solid and sometimes they've got white markings, and the white markings show up from the breeds that were used to create the Vizsla way back. Some of them had white markings, and so sometimes you'll get white markings on Vizslas, and sometimes you won't. The interesting thing is both Breezy and Cliff are solid dogs. But Teal right here is the only solid pup out of their litter, whereas Willow is actually a marked dog, and she was bred to Cliff as well, who is solid. And she had a lot more solid puppies. So it's just something that, sometimes it's expressed and sometimes it isn't. Okay, so going a little bit smaller than teal will be Miss Purple at 0.81 pounds. She's right here. Sorry, you can really hear Willow's pup. She's got a pup that's... Okay, we're back. Willow had a pup that couldn't find Mama, but Adam got her all taken care of. So here is Purple Dot, and again, she is 0.81 pounds today. And if we look, sorry, that twitching she just did, that's actually a good sign. If you don't know that, pups are supposed to twitch in their sleep like that. Okay, 0.81 pounds, and if we roll her over and look, she has very slight in the throat area, just a few hairs, may not stay, may, we'll just see. Very slight in her groin area. I can actually count 4 hairs, so that's almost guaranteed not to stay. There's like 4 hairs right there. And then if we look at her paws, there's the teensy-tiniest bit of frosting on that toe right around the nail. And that is it for Miss Purple. And then, going smaller than her, the smallest of the girls is Miss Gray. Oh, she's clear over in this corner. Let's see if I can reach her. There we go. Miss Gray today weighs 0.72 pounds. And if we roll her back, she has very slight, they sometimes don't like to put their heads up, very slight in her throat. I actually can't even see it right now. It was showing up a little bit ago, but I actually in this lighting I'm not even seeing it, but there may be very slight on her throat. Probably not going to stay because, you know, I'm having a hard time even finding it. And then if we look at her chest, she is solid. And if we look at her front paws, they are solid. And then if we look at her back paws, these 2 toes on her left foot have a tiny frosting right around the toenail. That usually does not stay, but it could possibly stay. So that is Miss Gray, the last of the girls. Now we'll move on to her 5 boys, and again we'll go biggest to smallest, if I can keep track of the order I'm going in. All right, we will move on to Breezy's boys now, her 5 boys, and starting biggest to smallest, we have Mr. Brown here. He is the biggest of the boys, but not the biggest of the litter. Yellow is slightly bigger than him. So here is Mr. Brown, and today he is weighing at 0.94 pounds. He wants to turn backwards. Come on, buddy. So Brown is a very unique pup in that he has a marking right here on his forehead. Technically that is outside of breed standard for a Vizsla. So, you know, he was not a dog that would have the full registration for breeding or for conformation show. But other than if you're not breeding or doing the conformation, excuse me, it really, you know, it's only cosmetic, and that's the only reason that it would matter. And, you know, it can be kind of fun that Vizslas tend to look a lot alike. A lot of people think you can't tell one Vizsla from another. And with a very slim chance of a marking like this, you know, it does set him unique compared to other dogs. He has some other markings as well. He's actually quite a marked pup. So we'll show you those. Sorry, Willow's whining at us here, wanting attention. So if we roll him back, he has a tiny bit in his throat. Not likely to stay. But his chest marking is bold and definitely going to be there. It's almost like a sheriff badge shape or something. Not the star, but, you know, a ranger type looking badge shape or something like that. There on his chest. If we look, he wants his mama. So look at his front paws. They're solid. If we look at his back paws, there's marking on both of those. And he does have a more pronounced marking in the groin. This one may possibly stay into maturity. So Brown here is definitely, he's got some bold markings. that set him unique in the breed. As far as the markings go, it really is a matter of preference. A lot of people actually, we find quite often our marked dogs are the ones selected first, and I think that people like the unique traits of the markings. As far as the hunters go, whether there's validity to it or not, I'm not sure, but they claim that the marked dogs are more intelligent, more easily trained, and tend to make better hunters. So whether that's old wives' tale or what, I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, that is something that you will hear. Okay, so going to the next smallest, we actually have a tie. The next three are all 0.9 pounds today. So we will go with Orange. As you can see, he also has, we have 3 of the boys that showed up with this unique marking. We've never seen it before. Again, I'm sure it's just surfacing from the breeds that were used to create the Vizsla, but to have 3 of them, it's like they're 3 little triplets or something, I don't know. To have 3 of them with it, such a unique marking, we've never seen that happen before. But we will take a look at Mr. Orange Dot. So here he is. So in addition to his forehead marking, he has a pronounced neck marking. So this one is enough. I expect that to stay. And then he also has a defined chest marking there. If we continue on down, his groin markings are slight. Those may go away, they may stay. His back paws have definite marking as well. So it's interesting, these 3 boys with the forehead marking have almost the same markings throughout their body. They're really 3 little triplets or something. And now I can't see, where is Light Blue? Oh, under my leg, that's why I can't see him. So Light Blue is again tied for the 0.9 pounds. He is the other one with the forehead marking. His is very faint. His is only a few hairs right there on his forehead. It's possible that will fade. So if you really love the unique marking of the forehead, you'd be safer probably selecting one of the other 2. His may stay, it may fade. If we turn him over, his markings are just more slight all around than the other 2, but in the same areas. He did not want to hold still. Let's see if we switch hands here. So very slight, just a few hairs in the neck. I doubt that that's going to stay. It's barely even visible now. He has kind of a scattering of small markings on the chest. Right there. I can't get him to hold still. Let's try turning him this way. If we look, his groin is just a couple hairs. I doubt that'll stay. His back toes are definitely marked. So of his markings, I feel really confident in saying the chest and the back toes will stay. The groin, the neck, and the forehead, they're really faint. They may stay. It's very possible that they could fade as he matures. All right, so also tied at the 0.9 pounds, but no longer the forehead markings, is Mr. Dark Blue. And here he is. They want to eat. Okay, as far as Dark Blue, if we roll him back, he has very slight in his neck, in the throat area. It's like 2 hairs right there. I really doubt that that's gonna stay. Hold still, Squirmy. He has a very definite chest marking that will stay. It's got a long white centered marking there in the chest. That is for sure gonna stay. He has very slight groin. That one may stay. It's more than just a few hairs. It might be faintly visible at maturity. And then his back toes they're not huge markings. They're not the majority of the toe, but he's got the little tips of his toes right around his toenails that have some white on them. More of just the little frosting there at the end of his toes. All right, so let's see here. Our last boy, and the smallest of the boys, is, and I'm looking actually the smallest of the litter as well, is Mr. Red Dot. Come on, buddy. So here he is. We'll have to just watch and see whether he catches up or whether he stays smaller. When a dog is bred, all of the eggs are not released and fertilized at the same time. They're released over a series of a few days. So, you know, it's very possible he was actually just a few days less growth and he'll catch up, or he may stay smaller. We'll be able to predict that a lot better as it gets close to going home time. But he's growing, he's strong, he's healthy, he's doing well. So let's see here. He's 0.68 pounds. He's sucking on my finger because he wants his mommy. So he has a marking on his chest right here in the center. Kind of a cute little, almost like a kite. Look, right there. Right centered on his chest. And then he has very slight in his groin. Just a few hairs. I really doubt that that's going to stay. The chest will stay. It's small, but it's a bold marking, so it will stay. And then as far as his paws, the front paws are solid. The back paws, there might be just a frosting around the tips of his toes. It's hard to even tell if they're frosted or not. There may be a slight frosting on his toes, but I really don't think so. I think that they're solid. I think it's just the lighting right now. All right, so that is Mr. Red, and he is the 10th one to show you. So that is all 5 girls and all 5 boys. Quite a bundle of puppies for little Miss Breezy. She really surprised us to have so many pups in her. Like I say, they are smaller, and they'll grow a lot. They were born smaller than Willow's, which is to be expected. Willow is a much taller dog than Breezy, so it's to be expected that her puppies are going to be bigger at birth. But they also grow a lot. You know, there's a drastic difference between these pups and Willow's pups at an 8-day difference. But in 8 days, these pups will be drastically bigger as well. They're doing great. And, you know, just like a human baby, there's a range of, you know, they're typically born anywhere between 6 and 10 or 11 pounds. You know, all of that's considered pretty normal range. Same goes for puppies. There's a range of birth weights that are perfectly normal and acceptable as long as the pups are healthy and growing. And that's what we're seeing in the contrast of these pups. You know, these guys just have they were born a little smaller, they have a smaller mom, and we'll just watch them and see. But if you're wanting a big dog, Willow's pups are likely to be taller than Breezy's, and Breezy's pups are likely to be more petite, more actually the average size. Willow, you know, is pushing top of the range in size, whereas Breezy is more average, maybe slightly on the smaller side of average.